Hey everybody, it is the BOP, the Blurred Official Podcast. Hilton is already over there bopping his head. Oh my gosh, we are so happy to see you guys. So happy that you're here. We've got a really good show planned for you. I think you and I, Hilton, are extremely excited about the topic that we have for today. But before we get to that, how you doing, Hilton? How's it been going?
Oh, it's been a roller coaster. I mean, it's been about a month and some change since our last actual show. BlurredCon has happened since then. Just amazing year, amazing session. We had Janelle Monáe came out and joined the family. There's no other way to describe it.
Right.
Our first move from July to March was a heavy lift.
That was
it was a heavy lift. You had six months versus 12 months to put a con together and feel it, right? But it came out great. It was a great move. It was a little cooler, which was great. But it was an amazing turnout, our biggest show yet. And just the community just reminding us that this is home, and wherever and whenever we move it, they will follow. So that was really reassuring. And then obviously, this has been this spate of amazing films that are on the that have just come out and are about to come out. And I know we're going to talk about one in particular.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just been, and don't forget, we had to do taxes. So
my gosh, can we forget?
The worst.
Can we forget that part?
The worst.
All the billionaires in this country have forgot about it, so we should forget about it too.
Oh my God. I'm telling you, that was traumatic. I needed a couple of days after that, but I'm here.
I know. It's one of those things where I don't care how much of a planner you are or how much of a person, it just seems like you wait. You don't ever have enough time. Like that deadline just sneaks up on you, and you're like, what the heck? In those last couple days, I mean, literally, like one of the days we couldn't record because it was like we were both working on that stuff. I had finished mine, but we were still insanely busy. But yeah, we saw each other in Awesome Con. We were at Awesome Con and we got to hang out. We actually got to have dinner, which is like something we never get to do. Right. We never get to do that because when we're at cons, we're usually swallowed up by the show. And especially at BlurredCon, I see you like when I arrive, and then I might see you once or twice in between, but I don't really get to see you because you're running the show and you're crazy, and I understandably so. But this time we got to hang out, we got to chill, we got to talk and just have some good laughs, and it was very, very cool to see some of the BlurredCon family there with you and you doing your thing. I was doing my thing, but you brought up something very huge. There are a whole plethora of movies that we have been anticipating their arrival, and one of the ones that was like most anticipated by all of us was Sinners. We've been talking about this movie for probably, like, we brought it up quite a few times over the last year, and it finally arrived. And let me tell you right now, it did not disappoint. And you guys, I am not a scary horror film watcher.
The fact that you went and saw this in the theater stunned me. I don't know if you tranked yourself or had somebody chloroform you, but somehow you got in the theater.
I actually took my mother with me. So I figure if you're gonna watch something, having your mom there is gonna be like some comfort in some way. I ended up having to comfort her. She was the one who was losing it, and I was chilling. But I mean, it was different. It was like Ryan Coogler. I think it's solidified. Every film that he's done is like the Midas touch. Every film that he has done has had so much tenderness, so much anticipation, so much thoughtfulness. Like I would pray and hope that at some point my brain can be that perfect in writing a script or just thinking of everything, and obviously he's got a wonderful team. He always shouts them out. But it starts with him. It starts with his passion. And like, I've just been seeing videos all week of people who worked on the film, and they were like, he called me and like, we're used to doing superhero stuff, and here he is telling me about this film based during Jim Crow in Mississippi. And it's like, and they were like, I'm too excited. And here we are. the force is trying to keep me from talking. I don't even understand why the odds were against me in that moment. So guys, sorry about that, my technical difficulties, but I'm back.
She's back.
This movie was everything. Like
Yes.
I mean, I'm going to let you, it was everything. I'll get to what I was going to say, but you, Hilton, I know it was everything because you were posting about it. I wasn't able to see it until like a few days after you saw it, but it was so good. I don't understand.
I didn't even wait. I found well, first of all, this is a movie that's shot in 70 millimeter IMAX, like the primo available technology for the aspect ratio and the detail and the color that you'll see in a film.
Yes.
Ryan actually spoke with Christopher Nolan, who had done some pioneering work with IMAX film and film format to get advice and counsel on how to put all this together. So if you have an IMAX theater near you, this is how you have to see this movie.
You got to see it. Like, don't wait till it comes out.
Is the full IMAX screen, and it just captures so well the world. And I just, it's amazing. That being said, Ryan is a storyteller and a visionary, and he understands, like a Steven Spielberg does, that all great movies center around people, like telling people stories. And this movie does an amazing story of telling individual and community and historical people's story. The environment, the temperature,
world.
the history, the world building that takes place in the first 45 minutes of this movie is just, a masterclass in just, nothing takes you out of the movie. Like there's nothing. No one's, there's nothing in the script. There's nothing in, that makes you go, oh, that's not, 1932 Jim Crow South. And it just, you get right into it. And in that way, it's not a horror movie. It is a period piece.
Yeah.
And it centers around people. It centers around the music. It's got all of these different characters coming from all these different directions who are converging plot-wise and physically on what is known as the Juke, which is the building in which the majority of the second half of the movie takes place. And, this young guy named Miles Caton,
oh my gosh,
is an amazing first time on film.
Crazy,
so
right?
Much as a commercial, but he's a musician. He's actually been doing music for a long time, and in blues, and he plays guitar. He is the centerpiece. He is the main character in this movie, and he just does a brilliant job, both in his performances and in his acting. And while the horror aspects are all there, and it's scary in all the ways that a horror movie would and should be, I don't know what it is about it that you don't ever recoil from the screen the way you do with like a Friday the 13th. And the Friday, you want to get away from Jason, who's on the screen, and you're trying to escape. You're always trying to immerse yourself in this world. You never recoil from this movie.
No.
How gross it is, or whatever horrible thing is happening on the screen. And there are some really gross, horror pieces in this. But the music is a character of its own in this movie. For anyone who hasn't seen it, the closest comparison that I could make, just to give you just a baseball field view of what this movie is like, if you imagine The Color Purple crashed into From Dusk Till Dawn from Quentin Tarantino.
Pretty much.
There are scenes in this movie where you almost could say lines from The Color Purple and they would not fit, but they would be a joke and everybody would get it because of just the way this is placed and the way the people talk and move in their situations. And but it grabs you in the same way The Color Purple did. It's a slow burn. You're really just seeing these people moving in this world that Ryan Coogler built. And before I let go, I gotta say, this is Michael B. Jordan's best performance of any movie I've seen him in. He is playing a twin who are known as Smoke and Stack, right?
Yeah.
And their nickname
set
is
of twins.
They're a set of twins. And what I love about how he pulled this performance off is that they're both kind of gangster hustlers, whatever you want to call it.
Mm-hmm.
And they're both a little wild and crazy and, in all the ways you would expect a gangster and, hoodlum, whatever to be.
Right.
But there's subtle things about Stack that is different from Smoke. And, Smoke's a little, I think Stack's a little crazier than Smoke.
Mm-hmm.
I think he's kind of a little more off the wall, a little more spontaneous, a little more, off the cuff, doesn't always plan out, doesn't always think. There are very, very, very broad hints about the story of these two individuals before we meet them, but it doesn't do like this narrative of then they did this.
We have to explain who they are.
Right. It's
what
very much like
through.
A Michael Mann film.
Yeah.
Where you just kind of get plopped into the middle of this world as it is already happening, and you kind of pick up as you go. But it is emotional, and it is colorful, and it is cultural, and it's magical. It's literally magical.
Yeah.
And again, seeing it twice on the screen, tears welling up in your eyes at certain parts.
Yeah.
You know what scene I'm talking about. This musical centerpiece is going to rule cinema history for the next 50 years. And just, it's chills up the spine, goosebumps even talking about it now. But if you're one of those people, and it's the only time I'm going to talk to you, the audience, about this. If you're one of those people who are going like, oh, I don't do horror, or oh, I'll catch it on DVD.
I am one of those people.
Don't be that person.
Don't be that person.
Go see this movie. I'm telling you, this is not hype. Sometimes we hype stuff up because we want Black movies to do well.
Right.
But this is one of those movies that has delivered and is worthy of your money to go see it in IMAX. Mm-hmm. And as much as all the emotions and the feelings you felt at Fruitvale Station or Black Panther 1 or 2 or Creed, you name it.
Yeah.
You're getting all of that times 5 here. This is his best work. And
hands down.
This is I don't even know how the Oscars are going to categorize some of the stuff we saw in this. I can't. Yeah. Oh, that's best actor. That's best this and but yeah,
I know.
Amazing.
It's insane. I mean, going back to what you said, if you're one of those people who don't do horror, don't let that hold you back, because literally I'd already decided I was going to watch it. I had said early on, I was like, oh, it's so scary. I don't know if I can get through it. But I was like, I'll watch it and I'm going to go early in the day. Like, that's my trick. Go early in the day. So by the time you go to sleep, it washes off of you. But literally, there was nothing in there that I haven't seen as far as like, it wasn't scary. I mean, it was horror, but he pulls you in with the story, with the characters, that then the horror is just the icing on the cake. You're so invested in these characters that you need to know what happens to them. You need to know, do they survive this night? Like, that is like, I mean, you're literally like so drawn in, and he's so good because all the while, like, I was learning about things that I didn't know. Like, I mean, you've heard about the Jim Crow South, you've heard about different things, but he's always going to keep it real, real, real. And I saw an interview with him where he was saying, like, we had to keep it authentic. We had to like they hired, there's a character where, I mean, they obviously deal with the Black church and what we know as the church and what it symbolizes in the Black community. But then they also dealt with like the hoodoo that is a part of the Black community, and about, especially back then, and how it wasn't just like, I've heard people saying, oh, this is demonic. And it's like, no, it wasn't. That actually was the vehicle that saved their lives. That was actually something that, like, two things can be true. You can honor the Black church, but you can also honor a different spiritual, a different spiritual mechanism as equally being good and equally being something that they needed in this moment, in this night. And I mean, it was just, the casting was 100% on point. And I love him because he hires people that are authentic to what needs to be there, and like one of the characters, she plays Annie. She is the love, or the former love interest. And then you realize when Smoke sees her, she's not the former, she has always been his love, and they had a tragic past with losing a child, and and he goes to meet her, because what happens is, when you watch the movie, there are a lot of spoilers in this, so if you haven't seen it, come back and watch our breakdown of it later. But in order to even talk about it, we've got to tell you some things. And so, the both Smokestack, they both come into town. They've been gone. They've been in Chicago. They've come upon some money, and they are known in Mississippi as being notorious. Their father was notorious. They are notorious. But they left, to Chicago. And they hint that, they probably worked for some mobsters. They hint that, the money that they earned and the success that they now have, now that they've come back home, is dirty. They all are like, and you see, because like you mentioned, they're hoodlums, and they both show it in different ways. Like they are not afraid to face danger. And so their dream, I guess, was to come back home and start a juke joint. And so now they've got to wrangle up their crew. And instead of starting it, they've gotten there, they decide, well, tonight's the night. We're going to set it up and we're going to kick it off. We're going to advertise it. And so they decide to split up. And you instantly get glimpses as to who they are. And before they split, they pick up their young cousin, who is Church Boy. And that's played by Miles, the young man you talked about, who's a musician. And they have to go and basically get everybody they need to make this night a success. And, Smoke goes to visit Annie, and she's into hoodoo. She's into figuring out, she's into that world, and you see her at her, like, kind of, I don't know if it's her house or her store or what it was, but she's basically got all the charms and all the things that you would think of as voodoo. And you would think, and she talks to him about how, although she couldn't save their baby, she's prayed for him and she's kept him safe. And he has like an amulet that she put together, or, some sort of pouch he's wearing. And you just instantly see this guy who, like, a couple scenes earlier, shoots two people for trying to steal something out of his truck. You see this tender man who is in love with this woman. And although he went there just to get her to come to the juke to fry some fish, he can't, right. It's like he can't not love her. And what I loved about the casting of her is that she is a Black woman through and through. She's curvy. She's dark skinned. She's beautiful. She's tender. It's like he was able to show, like, oftentimes in movies, you never get to see Black love. You never get to see it. You don't see it like that. And you don't see Black men on movies loving a real Black woman. Most of the Black actresses that get cast for these roles are either light skinned, or they're either model-esque, or they're all these things that I guess Hollywood would allow. But this is a real Black woman, a beautiful Black love, beautiful, like, just the
dark
tenderness.
Skin,
yeah.
She, just as the brothers would call, thick.
Yeah.
Her name is Wunmi Mosaku.
Yes.
She's been, you can find her on Lovecraft Country.
Yes.
You can see her on Loki seasons 1 and 2 as a member of the TVA, and now a leader of the TVA. Just an amazing actress. And, there's a sub story that kind of plugs everything that you were just saying, Karen, is that this also has a historic deal behind it. Yeah. So this movie was written about a year and a half ago by Ryan Coogler, and he pitched it to all the different studios, as you do. And it got turned down by a couple of the bigger ones. And when it finally got picked up, he basically was like, I want ownership. And I want full authority to make this movie the way I want.
Notes.
I want, no notes. I want to have full ownership. In 25 years, all rights revert to him. Yeah. I also get first dollar profit, meaning that instead of what normally happens where the movie makes its money back first before the movie maker and everybody else starts getting theirs, he makes his money back first before the studio. Until he gets whole, the studio doesn't get any money, which is a complete reversal, and it's a deal that's never been heard of before. And I'm not really sure how he pulled it off, but
it's going to change the landscape of filmmaking. Yeah, we're going to get better movies.
I think Chris Nolan hipped him to more than just how to shoot aspect ratios on IMAX film, right? And I think that might have given him some leeway. But I think that is why you're able to see him go as deep into all these areas where the normal studio executive trope would be to put somebody who was light skinned or somebody who was, a sex pot, in Hollywood, and that's their genre, instead of putting more of like that real gritty feel. There's a lot of little knowns, and I don't want to call them unknowns, but to your point with Wunmi, as being playing a type that is not normally cast for this particular role in a regular film. Everybody's type is cast that way, you know. And I want to segue Haley Steinfeld.
I've loved her.
Who you may know her from the Hawkeye movie,
Pitch Perfect,
or series Pitch Perfect.
Yeah,
she's, I mean, not quite a child star.
Yeah, but she was young when she started.
Played the young, you know, these young roles, playing teenagers and young adults. She's grown in this movie. I mean, she is coming in playing what is known as an octoroon, someone who has, you know, 1/8 or 1/4 of black blood, but can pass oftentimes for white.
And did you know that's real life?
Rejecting that, and that's real life. She actually is 1/8 black and 1/8 Filipino. And she was able to play this character, which matches her genealogy and her family history so perfectly. And she kind of was able to dig into that character as she reports it. But she digs deep. I don't recognize her. There was people I heard in the lobby after the theater talking about, I didn't know until I saw the credits that she's the girl from Hawkeye, or she's the girl from, you know, this. And I was just like,
what is the one movie, the Transformers movie? Bumblebee. She was in Bumblebee.
In Bumblebee. She just played these kid roles, and, you know, not quite Disney, Nickelodeon, but I mean, listen, she had some of the coldest lines. And some of the most, what would we say, adult perspectives in positions in this movie, and that was totally not her. They could have cast anybody who kind of fit that role, but she really stood out in this movie that way, and it's going to catch, I think, a lot of people off guard. Yeah. But no, he had this deal, so he was able to do what he wanted. I know, and that's the miraculous part. And you can see his thumbprint on every
let him work
of this movie. Let Ryan cook. That's the new rule in Hollywood. I don't care if he's making a movie about fungus and moss. Let him figure it out. It's gonna be dope.
He'll have us all crying about fungus and moss. We're not gonna know why.
and let me tell you something. As far as vampire protagonists go, or antagonists go, oh my God, this guy who played Remick was his name.
What is his? Okay, wait, I have them all up. Let me see. Where is
I was looking at it. I was looking at his name.
Jack O'Connell.
Earlier. Yep, Jack O'Connell. He's got a familiar face. You probably won't know where you've seen him. He is playing this Irish, you know, vampire, and I mean, he is as seductive as Lestat. He is as evil as Nosferatu. He is gross. He is aggressive. He is manipulative. He is everything that a vampire trope would be. But he is also mesmerizing on the screen.
I mean, when he was trying to entice them to get in the jupe, and he was saying all the things that they needed to hear as black,
half the people would have let him in.
Yeah, we'd be like, come on in.
Like, you know, you're going to play music like that. You're going to talk like that. You're going to appeal to your highest and lowest denominator.
Yeah. Even when he came back and they knew he was a vampire, and he was like, they're never going to give you what you want in this country. They're just going to steal from you. You'll never be nothing. And if you, like, he basically was trying to entice them to let me turn you all into vampires, and you'll have it all. And I mean, like you said, half the people would have been like, okay. Because I mean, if you're a sharecropper and you're living under the thumb of, you know, white America, who is just gonna, I mean, we all know they're gonna lynch you, they're gonna cheat you, they're gonna do all these things, and they've all witnessed it. And you have someone telling you, I can make you superhuman, I can take away all your pain.
Who's white?
Yeah.
And, you know, and directly point, he actually does this at one point. Yeah. You know, it's like, oh, is it because of this? Is this what bothers you?
Is that why you
want to let you know? I don't see you. Like, you know, and you're just
think about how Irish people were treated when they came to this country. Like they endured
vulnerability.
Yeah, they were a vulnerable group. They were immigrants. It's so on par, you know.
It is really amazing that he wrote that character this way, because he didn't have to be. You know, you could have made the vampire just a throwaway vampire and just focused on characters, and probably could have got away with still making a good movie.
Totally.
but the commentary and metaphor is woven through every frame of this movie.
Everything.
And the metaphors around appropriation and colonization and discrimination are all in there with Remick, you know, and you know, the way he goes about it, and it's just really amazing that they cast somebody like this, that you actually believe that he could hold this cult together. Yeah. And you actually understand why he's there. He's literally there to steal the culture in that building. Yeah. You know, because the music he heard drew him in. And, you know, at some point he says, like, your music will be mine and my music will be yours. And you're like, you're just, you know, that whole appropriation trope is just built into it. And we cannot go another syllable without talking about Delroy Lindo. Delroy comes
like the most underrated actor of our lifetime. Like,
give that man his flowers.
Give it to him. Give him everything.
What he does in this movie is he is the living, walking embodiment of history. Yeah, like he is the griot in this movie. He has experienced. He's older than everyone else. Yeah, he's been further. He's been lower.
He's seen it all, you know, good, bad, and the ugly.
And just having him be part of that foundation of this world building, as none of the other characters are. Like, he's actually part of the world building, you know, and the stories he tells, and the way in the acting, you know, when they're in the car and he's reminiscing about, you know, the lynching of his friend and you know, all this stuff. And he's trying not to cry. Like, this is the part of the story where you just break down and start crying. He just starts stomping his feet and humming and just transfers all that energy into what he knows, which is the blues. Yeah. And that's the blues.
And you feel the
definition
pain. You feel
of
it,
what
right?
the blues is. You know, people talk about the blues as being this thing, but you just watch that man tell a lynching story. And if like I said, if you're in IMAX, you can hear the sound of the lynching. Subtly in the background as he's
screaming the
story.
Terror. Yeah,
it's unbelievable.
Ryan Coogler just unbelievable. He shook my soul. Like that scene. I mean, there's several scenes that'll do this to you, but that scene was so haunting. And then it's funny. Like, it was one of those things where you talk about the world building, right? And so you have someone like Michael B. Jordan, who, you're right, did the most amazing. This is the best acting I've ever seen him do. My mom thought she thought they were twins. She didn't even realize.
You're going to believe he has a twin brother.
I was like, Mom, you know that was the same person. And she was like, what? And like, she's, you know, my mom is one of those, she just goes and enjoys stuff, but she's not into pop culture. She doesn't know. Like, she literally was the person who, she thought there were two guys, and she did not understand how they did that. She didn't understand. She's like, those two characters are so different. Like, she even said they didn't even look alike because it wasn't that they obviously looked alike. It's the same man playing the same character, but she said it. And I thought that was so interesting because he was that good, where he made himself feel like they didn't look alike. Like he brought that to the characters, right? So you have someone like him who's leading the charge. And then you have this breakout star like Miles, who is just unexpected. I mean, like, you don't expect him to deliver the naiveness, the pureness, just everything. Like, he just really came from nowhere, right? And then you have the ingenue like Haley, who comes in and she delivers this performance where, I mean, it really loves Stax. Like, she was not joking about, and he broke her heart. She didn't care about nothing in that moment. She was going to stop at nothing to get in his face and tell him, and she needed to know why he left her, you know? And I mean, you have that. But then, like you said, you got someone like Delroy, who was just the anchor. He just he centered, he just anchored this whole film. And like you said, he had the history. He's seen it all. He'd heard it all. He'd done it all. You know, I mean, it was just it was like a master class of an ensemble cast. You know, like it just it wouldn't. I don't feel like it wouldn't have worked for anyone else in those characters. It wouldn't have worked if one of those characters was missing.
Anybody in this film, from the minor's part all the way up to that starring role. After watching it, I can't imagine anybody else playing these roles.
Everything was vital.
There's rumors milling out there about how Jonathan Majors was supposed to be in this movie, where there's no evidence for that, but they're just saying, like, if his drama hadn't happened, he was in a place where he would have been called upon to place. And I'm sitting there like, I don't know where you would put Jonathan Majors. I love Jonathan Majors like the sun, but I don't know where you put him in this movie. Like, so even that doesn't even penetrate like it would most Black movies. We're always going to put that person in effort. Like, no one is subbing people in and out of this movie in their own back of their mind. And and the other thing about this film that I think people really need to understand is that the guy's name is Goranson, and he's not in the cast list, but he did the score for Black Panther. He did the score for this movie and others. He is a musical genius. And he worked right alongside Ryan Coogler in building the soundtrack and the score, writing the songs. Like even the centerpiece song that just really takes this movie into the stratosphere. He wrote that. He taught Miles Catton how to play it and all that. And
master musician.
Master musician. That is exactly who he is. And again, if you think about Black Panther and what would Black Panther be without its score? And I have the score. I paid for the score. Is
literally
God tier. It's amazing. This is another iteration of genius that the movie just exists on a whole other plane. Like that musical plane is as real as what you're seeing on the screen. And it's just a whole other layer that most movies only reserve for like high drama or comedy or the opening and the closing. The music, I don't know that the music stops.
Never.
Throughout I was listening, I saw it twice. And I'm sitting there like, well, when is there nothing playing in the background? And it's like, wait,
it's very few and far between.
I haven't heard any music stopping, and it's 45 minutes in. And so it's another character in the movie. So again,
you're right. It needs to be like the cast list, and then it goes music. Like that's a full character in this movie. A full character in this movie was the music. And you're right. It's just transformative. It was one of those things that, like you think about Marvel and Black Panther, 1 and 2. Like they spent millions. They traveled to Africa. They did this. They did that. They did all these things to make sure that the music sounded authentic. The songs, even the original songs that came from artists that we love today. It made sense for that song to be in that spot. And even though this is a lower, this is a $90 million movie, which is pennies compared to these Marvel films that have the money they pour into the the film. Nothing misses. Like right now, Ryan Coogler has proven that he could work with anything. You just give him a camera, you give him a pen, a computer to write his, script. You give him the people he needs around him. He has Ruth Carter in here doing all the wardrobe, which is so authentic. He didn't miss a beat. Like nothing misses a beat. The attention to detail, if you don't watch it for no other reason, if you're a film buff, watch this because of the history that is being taught and the attention to detail, the cinematography, the lighting, everything. Like this is a movie you have to look at and marvel just the geniuses of the way that the lights were lit in this scene and everything. I mean, and one of the characters, the two characters that I really loved, and I didn't know during Jim Crow, South, is that the Asian couple, how they had back then, they would have the Asian community kind of was in the middle. You obviously had the white community and you had, Black and indigenous and people immigrants kind of on the other side. And Asian people kind of were in the middle, and so they kind of came into the South and they kind of were a bridge between both worlds. And so they came in and they would have grocery stores, they would have restaurants, and they were a vital piece to this community. But they show in the movie that they had two stores, one store on one side that served Blacks and, and they served all the others. And then they had one that served the white only store, and the husband was on one side and the wife was on one side. And it's like they didn't say it out loud, but that's something that was noticeable. And they were friends, you know, with Smoke. And so they go just to help. And they become engulfed. And she even says it at one point when all hell breaks loose. She goes, look, we came to help him with this party, but we did not sign up for this, you know? Yeah. And she sends him out, you know, unknowingly throws him into danger just to go like, let's get out of here. And they both are involved, but one's on one side, one's on the other, you know? And it's becomes this whole thing. She made me so mad. Like if I could ring, that was the wring your neck moment. There's always somebody who makes the mistake. Now wring your neck.
For anyone who's watching, you're probably thinking, "Oh my God, they're spoiling the hell out of this movie."
No.
Okay. We are and we aren't. Hear me out.
We're just brushing.
This is surface. We're not giving out a whole lot of plot points per se. There's things happening that we're describing, but this is not the kind of movie that can be spoiled.
No.
Because it doesn't hamper the experience. I mean, obviously, you know, you don't want anybody to tell you what the last 5 minutes of the ending is.
Yeah.
Who dies, who lives, you know, all that kind of stuff, and how, you know, but this is not one of those movies where there's like some big reveal. It's an experience, right?
A whole experience.
You are going to strap in for this ride, and you're going to forget you're in a theater, and you're going to forget that you drove there, and you're going to forget, you know, everything we're talking about. You're going to be transported. You're going to be transported. Mm-hmm. And again, as someone who saw it twice, the experience was better the second time. Yeah. Even knowing exactly what was going to happen, because I was just, you know, the first time I saw it, all my senses were so overwhelmed. I knew I had missed some things. Yeah. So I went to see it again, and then I was able to pick certain things. I'm like, oh, I didn't even catch that. Oh, I didn't even see that. Or, oh, just noticed that piece there. So I have a fuller view of the movie. So don't worry so much about spoilers. It's a big thing in movies, especially with the Marvel era, you know, that sort of thing. But we're not really spoiling the movie. It doesn't matter. I mean, we can sit here and tell you, you know, letter and verse what happens. And you can still go in and see a movie that's going to make you laugh, cry. I mean, give you chills, goosebumps. Yeah. It does all. It's a
multi-watch movie. Artful. Yeah.
It is a multi-watch movie.
I didn't even tell you this, but I went with my mom. That was a good thing, but that was also a bad thing. And she knows this. Everything I'm going to say here on the BOP, I've already said to her in person. So don't think I'm throwing her under the bus. But my mom is one of those who yells the loudest. She jumps at every moment. She talks to the screen and is like, go. And then she looks at me and goes, well, what's going to happen? And I go, how am I supposed to know? I've never seen this movie. Like, I had to tell her, stop talking, because like there are parts I missed because she was talking and asking me questions. And I'm like, Mom, everybody in here paid their money for this movie. You cannot talk throughout the movie. Like, you got to be quiet. And then 10 minutes later, she's talking again.
I saw it at 4:00 in the afternoon on Thursday, and people were talking to the movie. And for me, that's like a cardinal sin.
Right, me too.
It did not impact the movie for me in the way I thought it would.
No.
Because it's like being in church.
Yeah.
Right? It's just, you know, you're among, you're catching the feeling, you're catching the emotion, you know, you're seeing us on screen. And I mean us authentically, you know, spiritually, you know, just owning our stories and owning our narrative, educating and just swimming in these waters of our history and our music and our culture. I'd be shocked if she didn't talk. Right. Anyone who's got enough age on them to recognize, you know, the blues music, or recognize, you know, these little details about this Jim Crow South and things like that. I mean, it's just going to hit them right in the gut. There's no way to avoid it. But it's just, it captures you that way. Yeah. And I think that what's going to really be amazing about this movie is, just like you said, it's a movie that people are going to go and see in waves. They're the first front line of people are people like us who go see
right. You know, Ryan Coogler, we're there.
But then we go in and we just berate the shit out of everybody we know and say, get your ass to see this movie. I understand.
I was mass texting
you don't like horror
everyone.
Movies. I understand you don't like going to movies in general, because remember, the movie industry is taking a hit just in general. People haven't really fully embraced going into the theaters anymore, because so much of the top movies either bypass the theater completely and go directly into streaming, or they're only in the theater for like 2 weeks and then go immediately to streaming. So people are like, oh, I got a nice system at home. I'll
just wait till it comes out.
And I'm just
don't do that.
This
one.
This is a movie theater movie.
Yeah.
If there ever was one. Not with this one. Any other one, but not this one.
And you need that, because like at home, your TV is not even if you got great settings on, you got a great TV, you're not going to get the full, like, you're not going to get the lighting.
You don't have an IMAX.
You're not going to get, you're right. Exactly. You're not going to get the sound. You're not going to hear the thing, like the little things, like you're going to miss so much. So don't do yourself a disservice. Like, go and see this movie. And, man, I just but this is the thing, like everything he does is intentional. And so you're right. Like when I heard it was coming out, the scaredy cat in me was like, oh, I don't want to watch no vampire movie. Like, no, thank you. But then it's Ryan Coogler. I'm not going to not watch it. Like I'm going to fully support anything he does because I'm a fan of his work, and everything I've seen from him is like, I watch his movies. Like, I don't know how many times I've watched Black Panther. I don't know how many times I've watched Creed. I don't like, it's literally like if it's on TNT or whatever they put it on, I'm like watching it. If I can't sleep at night, I put it on my Disney Plus. Like, I literally have to watch these movies because they're just so entertaining. And even those movies, I still see things in those movies that I didn't even realize, and I watched them 25 times, and but with him, he's so special. He's so special. And you talked about that deal, and it was a deal with Warner Brothers. And honestly, I think everything happens for a reason. Like the whole COVID thing, the whole, all the DC movies that have kind of flopped in, for Warner Brothers, like all these things happen for a reason, so that miraculous deal put them in a place. And I read an article on this. I don't know if it was Variety or Huffington Post, whatever, but they talked about how it put Warner in a place of not having the power, where Ryan Coogler came in with all the power of being a successful director, and they needed something that was a for sure deal. So they gave him this kind of deal. And as a result, it's going to change the entire movie industry. Now, all of these, because the reality is there are a lot of directors who are tried and true, and they're proven, but their movies get ruined with notes, and they get ruined. Like some of the movies that DC had, they were ruined because of the executive notes. The people who aren't creatives, these are businessmen. These are people who crunch numbers, but yet because of the position that they're in, they can send a note that changes the entire movie, that gets an actor who shouldn't be the lead, or gets an actor who shouldn't be the, supporting character, this part. It's a lot of politics and a lot of, and not saying that they got in their position and they obviously know how to run a multi-million-dollar company, and they know how to distribute the funds, but they're not the creatives. They're not the creatives. Right. And for the last 10 years, we've seen writer strikes, we've seen directors strike, we've seen people who have just been at their wits' end. And there have been movies we haven't even seen the light of day. I mean, they have a movie that they shot in its entirety, and they didn't even put it on HBO Max. Like, they didn't just, what was it, the Supergirl or they didn't even give us that movie. Batgirl, because they were like, we're not going to give it to you because we didn't like it. But it's like, it could have gone on a streamer, and they could have given it to us, but they refused to give it to us. And so it's a beautiful moment that he is in this position to have this historical deal and change the game. And I love that it's him, because he's so, like, I've been watching interviews, he's so grateful. It doesn't fall. Yes. It doesn't he's not missing this moment. Yeah, not at all. He's not missing the moment that is happening right now. And I love that it's almost like he's ahead of the revolution. And for someone like me, who's a creator and is a creative, and as actors and writers, like it's almost like the creators don't matter. Like, they want to replace us with AI. They want to do all these. AI could never write a film like this. They could never capture the heart, the detail, or anything like this. So it almost restores the faith of, like, at this moment you could deny this, and you could, or you could let this man cook, let him work.
Well, I mean, to your point, that you're right. He's the guy that you would want to do this, because one, he's going to run a touchdown. Yeah, so if they had given this to a lesser director or a lesser piece of IP, or something they might have considered for the time safe, it wouldn't have done what this is doing. This is cultural, right? This is impactful. This is important. This is historic. And now that's going to be a part of their legacy, whether, regardless of who owns what, that's going to be a part of their studio. That's going to be something that's going to be a part of their legacy. And I think that's what studios should be shooting for.
Yeah.
And I think Ryan had mentioned that it was freeing, not just because of the deal he was in, but he was also not dealing with an existing piece of IP. So Creed existed in the world of Rocky.
Right. And
so
you
can't really leave Philly, New York area, and you can't change the characters' names, and
you couldn't have that in Phoenix, Arizona.
Exactly. And when he's doing something with Marvel, you've got all these characters that have to be consistent with 3 other movies, and the timelines have to match up, and so the notes come built in to the script, whether there's execs doing it or the creators have to do it. Yeah. And he still managed to put together a movie like Black Panther 1 and 2. But with this being something that was just whole born out of his own mind, he really was able to do something that I don't think he said, based on him, he said he hadn't been able to do before. And that just be free and create, have the budget, the technology, the ensemble cast, who are all just in love with one another. I mean, you rarely see. Yeah. And for anyone watching this, they're probably still doing junkets. So just follow YouTube and social media. These guys are still doing the rounds, and they're doing like 8, 9 of them at a time.
Yeah, they are.
Never see that. Usually they get like 2 or 3 of the stars. And they'll do the junket, where it's digital, and they try and fake like the people are across from each other, but they're like in 2 separate studios and all this stuff. And it's like, okay, I get it. It's just that 1 or 2 people. These cats are like rolling out deep. And they just love being with one another. They were on the red carpet. They're going to smaller venues and doing the premieres.
You see why it works.
One more actor I got to shout out.
Yes, please.
This guy would be very easy to roll over. And he's been around for a long time. And that's Omar Miller.
Yes!
Omar Miller.
You've seen him in everything.
Everything. Transformers.
Like
just, he's this big, tall actor. Just can't miss him on any screen he's been on. And he is just, and I'll be honest with you, he has been typecast.
Yeah.
He kind of plays the same 2 or 3 roles. It does it well. Yeah. He's funny. He's quick. He's very talented. And he got to have so much fun with his character, Cornbread, who is working security for the Juke. And he gets to play this dual role of just being this lovable, gentle giant type of guy that everybody kind of picks on a little bit and all this stuff. But he's big enough he could throw everybody around, whatever. And then at another point, he gets to play this full evil monster who is actually more scary than the lead vampire.
Yeah.
Because he is just so, the lead vampire is very philosophical and very deep. And beguiling. So at certain points when he's being a vampire on screen, he's not vamping. He's kind of like appealing to your higher angels. And don't you want to be free? We can save you. He's Omar ain't doing none of that. Omar's like he wants you to come outside so he can eat you.
Yeah,
and that's all he's there for. And the way
he's the muscle
goes about it, and some of those lines that he drops to get in, like when he first comes back, that's one of the scariest parts of the movie is his dialogue with everyone else when he's trying to get back into the Juke,
because that's their friend.
Like, and they're kind of like, and he's talking, but it's like even us in the audience go, it ain't right. It ain't right.
Something ain't right. Don't do it. Don't do it.
And I'm just so glad he was able to play this monstrous, horrible role.
Yeah.
Because you got to see a side of him that I don't think you'll see in any of his other work.
Everybody.
And he is one of the. He's only got like 10, 20,000 followers on Instagram. So if you tag him in something, he's probably gonna see it. So if you go to his Instagram and you see the stuff he's posting, he is having the time of his life pitching this film and selling it.
I'm so glad.
Check him out.
He deserves it.
He is. I hope that he gets a wider set of roles.
Yes.
I hope that Hollywood gets to see the depth that he brought to this role and his talent as an actor. Because, like I said, when I saw him on the screen, I was like, "Oh, I know that guy," and I figured, "Oh, I know what he's going to do." I've seen this movie before. I guess air quotes.
Mm-hmm.
No, he brought with his little bit of screen time, 15 minutes or whatever combined, he killed it. It's like almost like whoever
helped with casting, because there's probably roadblocks before you get to Ryan. And obviously Michael B. Jordan was probably the only one. Him and Delroy were probably the only two that he was like, those two, and now let's work on the rest, And so, but it's like, man, that casting agent is phenomenal. And I don't know if it was Sarah Finn, if it's the one he usually works with on different things.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I think that's all the name.
You think about this woman. She needs. I need a whole documentary on her and all the people that she has cast in all of the movies that we love. It's
such an unsung role.
Yeah. And it's like she's the one who kind of weeds through all these unknowns, or maybe not even unknowns, but it's like people that, because for his character, Cornbread, there probably was 150 big black men who auditioned for this, and Miles, there was probably 1,000 people who auditioned for that character. Yep. But she's the one who goes through that first round and sees that spark and then goes, okay, Ryan, you need to see these people. And then they go through it together. And then, obviously he makes the final decision, but it's such a vital, I need a whole documentary on her. We've seen them on, because you got it with Ruth. When Ruth was doing Black Panther, she won the Oscar. They literally said, okay, we need to do some documentaries and people need to know her and the magic of her and know the history of her working with, all these different directors and how far back she goes. She goes so far back in wardrobe movie history that people didn't even know. She's been around forever. But we need this with Sarah. We need this with her. I just need to know, I just want to get just a glimpse of the, there's always a method to the madness. I just want a glimpse of it. And I need another,
there's some magic in that madness.
Yeah. I need another more, because, Ryan's very private. We know, we know he's married. We know that he does this. And the only time he talks is when he's talking about his movie.
His wife co-produced it.
Yes. Yes.
Our couple.
Yes. Really. But I just want to I want more. I just want to know him more. And the funny thing you said earlier, how relatable he is. I feel like I already know him. I feel like I know that guy. I've been knowing you.
I think that's what brings the right cast together for him. The word is out that he is a joy and a dream to work with. Yeah. And that his creative vision is something that everybody wants to be a part of. Mm-hmm. So, even people who haven't worked with him before are like, oh, Ryan Coogler, yes, whatever it is, I'm in, right? And but if you were a lesser director, yeah, basically. But I want to touch on something that I think is going to ring for a lot of people who haven't seen it, who's watching this. Mm-hmm. We remember an amazing series called Lovecraft Country. Yes. And we all, to this day, people are still making side eye posts about how it wasn't renewed for a second season, and they did all this world building. There was so much to explore, but good. HBO didn't want this, and the execs didn't want that, and they gave her, the director a hard time as a black woman, and blah blah blah. ABC.
They tried to make her seem like she was difficult. They were really trying to just hurt her.
It was just not good.
Yeah,
I want people to understand that this is your chance to vote with your dollars to let Hollywood know what you want. We couldn't really do it with Lovecraft Country in this way because it's a streaming service, and it did well with the streams. But the streams on a streaming service like HBO aren't direct dollars. It's just a successful show that shows it was a good investment.
This act like it ain't
dollars. Mm-hmm. This is direct dollars. The money you spend in the theater makes it to the tally that goes up in the newspaper the next day.
Immediately.
And money is undeniable. There's a reason why there was a Black Panther 2, even without Chadwick Boseman. And that's because the first movie made $1 billion in a month.
Yeah.
And so if you're looking for a movie to support, find a way. If movies just aren't your thing, if you got family, friends, kids, whatever that are old enough, buy them a ticket, send them. You know, but this kind of movie, if it is successful, as far out on a limb as he went in story writing and in the movie deal that he was able to craft, that we're going to see more of, because the success of any formula in Hollywood is how much money is in the bucket at the end of its run.
That's
and specifically in its first weekend and first week.
Yep.
And so for those of us that are sitting back, oh, I want this, and oh, I wish there were more Black fantasy that, and more Afrofuturism in fiction,
I
and more original
know.
Black characters.
But then you
ain't
don't
out here
go.
buying a ticket to see a movie like this
Yeah.
because you watching it on bootleg, or you don't go to movies no more because you don't like sitting down and eating pop, whatever it is, that you got to turn that around. This
Today's the day.
To vote with our dollars. This is the
we
day.
need to turn out
see it during
like
the week.
We did with Black Panther.
Nobody that I have strong-armed, and I've strong-armed a lot of people to go see this movie, who went in with their arms folded because they're so mad because I would not leave them alone and kept harassing them. None of them have come out of this movie mad or disappointed, or it wasn't as good as you said it was. Everyone's come about talking just like me and Karen.
Yeah,
and that says a lot to me,
changing.
I know how Black people are. You make them do something they don't want to do, I don't care.
They're gonna hate until they can't hate no more.
They're gonna be so mad that you made them like it that they're not gonna like it.
Yeah, they're gonna pretend they don't like it. I'll say this: my mom was the loudest screamer. She was she was talking through the whole thing. I was like, "Oh my gosh, why did I bring her?" The lights go on, and she's like, "I want to see it again." She's like, "Oh my gosh, this movie, it was so amazing." Like, she talked for 10 minutes all the way back to my house. It was like, I have to see this movie again. And this is a woman who doesn't go to the movies. Like, she's like, I'd rather stay at home. I'd rather watch. Like, she's one of those who's just like, she doesn't really want to do that. Like, she's just like, I don't want to sit in the theater. I get tired. I get sleepy. She was not like, she was awake the whole time. She was engaged the whole time. She was getting on my nerves the whole time, but we had the best time. And she literally was like, I have to see this again. I have to see this again. And now yeah, me too. We touched on it just briefly, but we got to talk a little bit about it. There's a scene in this movie where a church boy who is Miles, he performs for the first time, and he starts singing. First of all, his tone is unlike any tone I've never heard. Such depth, such deep, such like, this is a boy. Like, it was funny. The character, Delroy's character, even made fun of him because he was like, "How does this boy sing the blues? Like, I got socks that are older than him." He was like, "This ain't even possible." Because it's like almost like the blues comes from a place where it comes from pain, it comes from life lived. Like, I mean, most of the best blues singers we know are like older, they sing with the pain in their voice is unheard of. And this kid, his voice was so mesmerizing. And then he starts singing and the whole club comes alive. And it's like, I'm not going to try to spoil it for you, but you get a glimpse of the past. Well, go ahead.
Let me stop you there, because I don't think we're spoiling it, because I have seen clips of this on Instagram.
Right.
And so I don't feel as bad.
Right. Yeah. You're right. On TikTok, it's been everywhere. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, what happens is you get his song and his voice and his performance is so transformative that you get a glimpse into the past, the present, the future, it is just the culture.
Well, the movie opens with culture. The voiceover saying that, there were people in our history and our culture who were able to play music so powerful, so beautiful, that it would draw spirits from the past, present, and future to wherever they were. And there was like this,
you wake them up.
Like an opening scene.
Yeah.
But it said, but it also can draw evil. Yeah. And his music does that, but the visual and musical way they do it, you start with this old bluesy from 1932, music, and then there's hip hop, and then there's jazz, and then and you see these dancers and all these different cultures that are, and it's a one shot. This isn't special effects. Like, these are actually people in the scene, which is amazing when you see
how long that had to take, how many takes that one, because you're gonna do it in one shot. You gotta. Did they only do it in one?
I heard it in one take with a special
camera. Get out of town.
And
get out of here.
You will levitate out of your seat when this sequence starts.
Well, I should say, how much rehearsal took to make this come off. Like,
well, they said they rehearsed for like a whole day just to get the camera angles and where people were going to stand, and you just see the tie-in, like where the blues hits hip hop, or the blues hits R&B where it hits breakdancing and all. I mean, and you just see this montage that's happening in real life inside the juke as his camera's moving around, and then he basically blows the roof off the building, and this is what draws Remick the vampire like right to the door.
He's you like, see him watching, like he can see.
He's watching it. He can see it in the way the magic that we see, he sees, even though the building isn't technically on fire. He just musically burned the building down, but he can see.
Yeah. You see that he wants to burn it down. Like you see where his intentions are now. What he's like, okay,
I have to have that music.
I have to have it, and I have to burn it all down. And it is just, I mean, literally, and when that scene, when you see that, and he notices,
I got goosebumps now talking about.
Yes, it's like you're instantly like I gasped. Like I literally like no, like you just knew right then, like, oh my gosh, what's gonna happen? Like you just knew that hell had arrived. And oh man,
as his preacher father said, he said, you out here dance with the devil, eventually the devil's gonna come find you.
You go,
and it's all, the movie just weaves together so perfectly. There's no lost lines, there's no throwaway lines. Like everything is already wrapped up, and all you have to do is be there to observe it and enjoy it
and just take it in.
And I mean, I felt like I was in the juke with them. I felt like I was in the car with them. I felt like I was in those fields with them.
Like we went back, those fields. Hilton.
Oh my gosh.
That scene, it was just like, and Ryan was on an interview, I don't remember with who, but like you said, he's been making the rounds, and he said that when they were driving, that they passed a cotton field. And he was like, I'd never seen one in my life. And they like that moment, he was like, I had to get out of the car. I had to go. I had to and it was just, I grew up in the South, but I don't think I've ever seen a cotton field. And I know they're there, and I refused.
I mean, they're not like right off the highway.
I've refused. Yeah. Like I was just like, oh no, I don't even want to see that. I don't even want to like that evil. I don't even want to, and it just made me realize like, no, we have to know the depths of the evil that was happening. We have to know our history and how horrific it was, because that's the only way you change the future. That's the only way. You're scared enough to go, I don't ever want this to happen again. I won't even play into these games. Like I feel like as a culture that so many times we play into these games and we just are suckered because we don't know how bad it was. And we almost like, as strong as we are, we can also be very vulnerable and very weak at times. And so I'm like, no, we have to see it. We have to know like where this stuff comes from. We have to understand the way that the present is only because of what happened in the history. It built up to these moments. And, we're stronger if we know what we overcame, and especially like a year like this year, where it seems like someone had said, there was a meme that said, I feel like 2025 is it's just like so raw and uncut. Like, it's just like, we're just like this.
Yeah.
Like, it's like the worst. Like it's almost just like a raw, like you're just like scratching a scab over and over, right? And it's just awful. But I feel like, I feel like the only thing that's given me peace through all of this is that I've said to myself, our ancestors, they've gone through way worse. They've gone through unimaginable horrors. So this is bad. But we got to know that we survived the horrors, so we can survive this as well. Like if we just keep reminding ourselves, we've survived worse. Not that this isn't worse. This is a new kind of worse, but we have overcome. So if you don't have hope, like that is where I've gotten my hope. That is where I've gotten my okay, something is gonna, we're gonna shift and we're gonna get we're gonna get through this.
Yeah. Please. And I think that this movie is the proper kind of escapism with a dose of realism that you're going to take away with you. You're going to go away feeling enlightened, exposed, educated, raw, emotional. I mean, just people. I just remember people just sitting when the lights came up. People just sitting in their seats, just kind of looking at each other like
they needed time to decompress.
It's like if it's like a really, really wild roller coaster. Like it doesn't stop and then people just leap out. People just kind of have to catch their breath and look around. And they do that specifically by letting, like the guy has to come down the row and unlock your thing. That also gives you a chance to find out if you're conscious.
Right.
You just stand up and
catch your breath. Because we've seen people on roller coasters.
Let your blood leave your brain and all that stuff. Exactly. He's got to go all the way down and unlock everybody. And then you get out. We were doing that in the theater. And just so you know, because I don't think this really got out in the first couple of days, there are 2 post-credit scenes. It's a mid-credit scene and a post-credit scene. Now, the mid-credit scene is actually part of the movie. If you miss the mid-credit scene, you didn't see the rest of the movie. It's not like some quick Avengers, hammer sitting in the ground type thing. This is like this is the epilogue of the movie after some credits. It's so critical. I don't even know why they put it that way, but
I don't either.
Beautiful.
I'm literally wait till they turn the lights on. Wait till sit there till they turn those lights on.
I sat through and I watched people get up, and when I saw the mid-credit scene the first time, I was like, there are people who aren't going to know the rest of the movie because there's like a 20-minute mid-credit scene here that is the epilogue of the movie. That people are now getting in their cars trying to beat traffic, and like you don't even know how the movie ends technically. So don't get up. It's not going to take long. It's like it's like a couple of seconds of credits, and then the mid-credit scene. But then there's long credits, and then there's an end credit scene.
Yeah.
I think it's our responsibility to see all of it. You may judge what's important as far as this end credit, but just don't leave until the lights come on.
Right.
And so you can see this full movie. Everything is important. And this movie is important. And our support of it is important.
So important.
This movie is made somewhere in the neighborhood of $65 million this weekend, which is great for an original story and not an Avengers film or part of a franchise, especially for horror. That's also a landmark. This was a $90 million film. So we're hoping that the word gets out because this is the type of movie I want to see made. Yeah. And Ryan Coogler is only one man, but I want to see more producer, directors, writers make the kind of deals that he's made with the studios. I want to see more movies like this. I think it's important when in a time when textbooks and history are being erased. Yeah. The celluloid on the screen is there to at least point us in the direction of our story. Yeah. And it is a one of the things that they're not trying to get rid of, at least not yet. So exercise your free will, vote with your dollars, go see this movie. It deserves to be seen. You will not be disappointed. I don't care how scary you are. I'm going to see it another time. I'm going to see it at least one more time.
I'm going to see it. No, it's already happening. I've recruited all my Comic-Con crew. So next city we're in, we're watching it, which is this weekend. Like I've literally got them. We're like, you haven't seen it yet? Okay, we're going to go see it. And they're like, well, do you want to see something else? No, I don't. I'll see it 5 times. If that's what it takes for me to get you there to see it, then I'll do it. And they're like, no, I want to see it. So Hilton is absolutely right. This is our moment. And like, television shows like Lovecraft Country, Underground, like they did that with Aisha got bamboozled with both her shows. But this opens a door for filmmakers like this so that we can get these kind of movies that are rooted in truth, rooted in culture, and also rooted in just fantasy. Like we aren't allowed really to be in movies that are out of this world. You see what happens when you put a person of color, any color, in a Star Wars movie. It's like they will sit and watch a movie about the robots that talk to you, and they'll sit and watch about dragons that fly through the air, but they can't imagine a black person in a lead role. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, this is something that this is the time. This is the time. If you're like, oh, we're doing it for the culture, I don't need to see no more fans out. I need to see your butt in the freaking seat at the theater. Like, it's that important to the culture. We need all of it. Yes. We need to be with our fans out, and we need to be unbothered in this movement, but we also need to be supporting Black filmmakers like this so that we can get more films like this, and we can see ourselves having a chance to not be a stereotypical character, or having a chance to like play a role that you think this person is the girl next door, but all of a sudden she's now a lead actress. Like she is like somebody who makes that one tear come down her face at that right special moment. like we hated her, we loved her, and we were scared of her all in 15 minutes. We need cornbread.
We were connected. We need to make sure that Ryan Coogler's shelf is clear. We don't want him backed up on projects that he couldn't get sold. And so a lot of y'all are sitting there like, oh, I just want to see the Black Panther 3. Okay, fine.
It's coming.
He's a creative. This movie is what's on top of his mind. He got to get this movie out. He's going to get ready to go from this to do the X-Files next.
Yeah.
All the other projects. Let him cook. And the faster he gets to get more of his stuff out, the faster it comes around to that one thing you might be waiting for. So support that man. Support the studio that gave him the deal. Don't make them regret.
Warner Brothers.
We talk shit.
If
Warner Brothers is making deals like this, thank you, Warner Brothers. You're moving in the right direction. You are supporting actors and writers and producers of great movies by allowing ownership and releasing some of the intractable pieces of IP that most studios do not. That means you see the big picture. And if you see the big picture, that means it's a big enough pie where you're going to start to turn your franchise around, get more money, get more fans, get more, writers and directors and actors coming back into your stable. And you're going to be doing better work all the way around. So congratulations, Warner Brothers. Congratulations to the whole team, including Ryan Coogler.
Yes.
Call me, Ryan. I've been trying to get a hold of you.
Call me.
Got to get you into one of these cons, brother. You and Michael.
I just want to be fly on the wall number 3 in one of his movies. I will be like, can I be fly on the wall number 3?
I'm dude making a costume and get water.
I'm an actress at heart, right? I'll even come get you. I'll go get your water at BlurCon.
I'll just go run get some water in the cooler. What kind of ice?
Ryan, you just text me and go, Karen, Ryan needs water. I'm on it. Like, I just want this man to live prosperous. I want this man to continue to have his space so he can create. We're also getting Ironheart from him on Disney Plus this year. So I mean, it's going to be it's his year. Let's let this man have all his flowers.
Let's make it Ryan Coogler's year. There it is.
I'm just so happy.
It's a wrap.
I'm so proud of him. I'm so proud of Michael B. Jordan. I'm proud of him. I'm proud of every single person. I'm just so proud of everybody who was a part of this film. So on that note,
for the record, the BOP is not sponsored.
No,
this or anybody associated with this film. This is all from the heart. We are talking for free for an hour about this movie because it's that good.
Over an hour.
There's other people sponsored. This is not paid promotion.
None.
Just so you know.
And I would do it again 20,000 more times. I would do it again.
We would do it again.
Yeah.
Like to be sponsored.
Yeah.
But
we would. Yeah.
I'm not saying don't sponsor us if you were planning to call Warner
Brothers after all. Well, guys, that is our show. We are way over time, but it was well worth it. Oh man, Hilton, we literally could talk about this movie for 8 hours. It'd be part 1, part 2, Sinners part 3.
No, I needed this purge. So I don't wear my family out no more. I'm tired of hearing me. The text chain is crazy. This is good. This is good therapy right here.
Oh, I know. Thank you so much, guys, for watching. We are the BOP, the Blurred Official Podcast. We will see you again next time. Peace.
Tune in every Tuesday for a new episode of the BOP, the Blurred Official Podcast.